Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Dirty Four Door channel. It's gonna be a big day today, guys. A big day. So let me show you guys what we are gonna be doing today. Okay. As you can see, I invested in a nice little set here. Some lightweight trailing arms for the 4-door. So right now I'm in the process of removing the old stuff and put these new ones on, and these are the adjustable kind. I think it's up to like 2 inches, but we'll go ahead and start knocking this thing out. Come back, show you what we got. All right, guys, so yesterday I just went ahead and fully installed that whole trailing arm back there. It's kind of hard to see because it's dark in here, but so yeah, so what happened was I got the old one out. I'll show you. We went ahead and disassembled everything, and unfortunately, like an idiot, not realizing that these are for drums, the hubs, and for whatever reason they're too small to fit on the shaft for these new ones, so I had to go everywhere, and I can only end up finding one. Here's one I picked up today, but we went to, I think, 5 auto zones. The first one gave us, it looked like a CRV or like a Chevy 5-lug full wheel or all-wheel drive type rear hub. We had, had splines and everything in it for an axle. We're like, nope. And it was the same part number as another auto zone, which we went to. They had it. We picked that up. They said, oh, within 15 miles, there's like 3 or 4 different other ones, and they all have them. So we drive out into the city area. Then the guy pops on his computer, and he says, nope, we don't have none, and none of them in this area have them. Checked another store, no, they don't have them. Just kind of gave up. Came back here. I put it on, put everything on. Got the tow as good as I could get it, way better than it used to be. Got the camber, somewhat adjusted, slapped everything together, cleaned up, and got the hell out of here. But today, when I put this side on, I'll be able to show you guys a little more step-by-step of how I'm installing them, kind of like how they go on, just so you can kind of get an idea. It's really simple. It's so light that it makes everything a breeze to install. Also, you don't have to worry about that toe, because that on this side, the bolt for the toe adjustment, actually the nut like broke off or what have you, so I had to like drill a hole through the bottom of the body and then put a nut on the back side, and that's usually what happens. So those always get fucked up. But on the other side, the nut and everything is still on the back side, so that bolt should be pretty simple coming out. The only thing is there's no threads like on this side, so I have to get something with a nut or the bolt, to get it there. But all the hardware for the camera gets there. And then this is right here where the adjustment would be, so you can get like that 2-inch difference, which I kind of kept mine. I don't know if it's back farther or not. It kind of almost looks like it because it looks closer to this. But I actually put it in as far as I could get it. And it could probably go back like another inch or so. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to adjust it yet, so I didn't. Like I said, I went all the way back. The one thing that does bother me, and I'll show you real quick. So here's the piece. Okay, so this piece kind of will, like, here's your heim joint. The heim joint will go in. This is going to sit like this. So these nuts are going to be your adjustment. So the heim joint will go in the middle there. It'll sit in there, and then you can slide it back and forth on here by the adjustment of these nuts. See how that's hollow? And this piece is so light, and obviously it's aluminum, right? But it's so scary because it's so thin. But what happens is you have that, and you have this bracket, right? So this bracket is going to go up where your trailing arm bushing would bolt up with those 17mm bolts. So this bracket's going to go up in there, and you're going to bolt that up first. And then what happens is, so now you have this threaded part that's going to go in the center here. And then your heim joint for the adjustment can rock back and forth, so you can get your toe there. And then you're like, well, how's that stay? Well, then they give you this super long skinny bolt, and this super long skinny bolt is going to actually, it goes through that piece of aluminum thread. So here's the aluminum thread, and then you got to kind of force it through because the way this thing is cut. But yeah, you get it all the way through. That bolt goes there. Obviously, here's the nut. And they give you a lot of the nylon locking nuts, which is nice. But you'll put that on, and then you kind of, impact this, and it kind of squeezes a little bit. Of course, it's going to squeeze on there. And because, even though it's aluminum, this thing, almost feels like it's plastic. It's so lightweight. So, it's like, I don't want to crank it too hard and then crack it. And then it's like, well, where do I find one of these at? It's not like a bolt, Where do I find a replacement of these? And these trailing arms come from Puerto Rico. So it's not like you can call up California and say, hey, I ordered your product. What's up? Which I'm sure if I called this company direct, they would definitely hook me up. But that's neither here or there. Oh, another thing. I wanted to use my newer, lower control arms, and I couldn't. So I can show you later on the other one. But so here's the back part. So your coilover's here, and this is the end where that's going to bolt to. Now, see how this is kind of flat across? Okay, so the older ones that I have, they have a notch that kind of comes down a little bit, and that actually gives it enough clearance. Because what happens is when you have this control arm or this trailing arm in here, right? I'll show you on the back side. See this little piece here? So as this thing is like swinging, so when you first put it on, it's going to kind of tilt down, right? And then you're going to want to pick it up to put your camber kit on. Well, what happens as you pick up on it, this part right here was smacking into it. And so when I was doing that, my camber was like this. Because when I try to pick it up, it would hit. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not going to work because it's way, way down. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and try the old arms back on. I put the old control arm back in. The silver ones. Let's see if we can get like a photo of them. See right there, the old ones. And then it has that clearance. So I'll just leave the other one on that side. So the one thing that kind of, I guess, does suck about being in here and being a tight garage is that side is over there that I need to get to, and it is buried. So I'm going to now have to shove the car over a little more and maybe come forward a little bit and over. That way I can get around the back side and get to it. And I actually want to jack it up. I know you guys, the little hook that's in the middle of the bumper, like a tow hook area. So I'm going to try to jack it up from that point, put some stands on both sides, because I also like to run the stage brake hoses. At least be able to run them, get them tucked up underneath the bottom here, see where I can get them secured under, run them over into the calipers, and at least that kind of stuff will be out of the way. That way when I do finally get in here and I mount it, which I don't want to mount the stage brake yet, only because I need to get my dash in. So I've sanded my dashboard. My plan is to, what I wanted to do was get everything in here, bleed it, and then put that stuff in there. But what I'll probably end up doing is bleed the front stuff, get the clutch bled, get the front brakes bled fully as best as possible, right? After I get that stuff bled, I'll put the dash onto the frame. After I get it onto the frame, I will then spray it, and I'm going to do it the bed liner shit still, yet again, that kind of rubber texture look. I'm going to spray it that, and then once it dries, then I'll install that inside. And then once I get that inside, I can put the stage brake in. I can bleed the rear section of that. And then I'm going to start working on little wiring things. And by that time and all that shit going on, my timing stuff will come in, my head gasket, my studs, I'll be able to put the head on. I have an oil pressure gauge that I want to run out. A couple other little ideas that I want to try to get. I want to use my fuel pressure regulator. I want to get one and mount it on the firewall. So with the space I have now, that's kind of the idea of where I like to go with this. But I'm going to go ahead and start getting into this thing, man, tearing this thing down. And then I'll get back and then you guys will see what's going on. Alright guys, so here's the arm here. But what I did on this driver's side here, and I'm going to do here on this passenger side, is I just took some regular, like grease, wheel bearing grease, whatever you got, and lube the shaft area here. That way you just get a nice sloop, just pops right on in there. So when you take off your original hubs, like if you did have disc brakes, I know on my drum setup, I'm not sure about the disc, but on my drum, they come with the washers here with this little groove. There's usually a notch that's on the original shaft, and I'll show you on these drum rears that I had. So here's the little notch, okay? Now this washer will work. The only problem is that it's not like a super tight fit, right? And it kind of wobbles around. So the first problem I had is when I laid it down on the other side, obviously, and then I went to put the nut on, which they give you these smaller nylon ones, because the ones that came off of there, they don't work. I think I have my other one right here, the axle nut. See if you can see the axle nut. It's just way too big, right? So they give you these nylon ones, and they work great, right? If I can get it on there, right? Oh, it makes me look dumb, and I'm like, oh Lord. Looks great on camera. Yeah, see? And they're thin, but they have that nylon lock and nut, and I like it. All right, so the problem is, once it's in there, you got the nut on there, you're cranking it. Once it gets to a certain tight, you know how washers, they like to move, and so it slid a little, which then caused the entire wheel bearing to kind of like turn and then stop. You know, it was going to rub metal to metal on the inside. So all I did was I took a little Dremel and I just kind of notched this. Obviously, the right way would be to get the right size opening for the washer. You know, get one that's going to fit perfect so that there's not going to be a lot of play in there like there is with this. I don't have that right now. I don't feel like going to the store. It's a Sunday. It's what, like almost 7 o'clock. Shit, probably half the goddamn places are closed. But it is what it is. It's going to work as long as it doesn't rub, as long as the wheels move. I don't care. But I'm going to go ahead and assemble this. I'll be right back in a sec. Alright, I'm sure most people know how to put these extended studs in. But if you don't and you don't have a vise, this is the easiest method for me. So I just take these, sit them down on a block of wood. I smack till they come through. It's pretty self-explanatory. Then you're going to take the new studs. I like to grab a little bit of grease and put it all onto these little splines right here. That way when you get them to go in, they go in nice and easy. You don't get them to go in crooked. And all I'm going to do is put grease, slide it through. I'm going to use the old axle nut and then a lug nut that I'm not going to use. And then I'm just going to impact the hell out of it till it comes all the way through. It's really, really simple. So what we're really doing, so the hub, we're just going to slide it right on there. I put grease on there. I put a little bit of grease in the inside. We're just going to put it in there. Boom. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? And they're like swimwear. And then I grinded down with that washer I was talking about just a little bit. That way it should not catch. Here's going to be our locking nut. I cannot remember the size. I think this, to be honest, is like a 20 something. Let me double check. Just what I thought it was from yesterday. It's a 27 millimeter is what we're going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and start that by hand, of course. I also found an extra set of arms in the back with these. These weren't the greatest, but I beat them off, and that way I can have some caps now on the outside to kind of stop stuff from getting in there. They look a little more cleaner. I might sand them down and paint them. But let me get my gun. Get the impact gun real quick. And go ahead and try to lock this thing down while we're right here. And hopefully that this washer doesn't walk on me. Hope I'm not tearing up my whole drag wing out here. Nah, we're looking good. I don't want to tear the beautiful drag wing from CCC Racing. Shout out to y'all. Hook a brother up. Let's see. Okay, hear that? You hear how you can hear it a little bit? So that's what I was saying about trying to get the right size. I think what I did last time was just like stuck a screwdriver in there to kind of just move it over some. Of course, now I can't find the fucking screwdriver. I'll lose my goddamn head if it wasn't on my fucking head. How about that? I mean, that's a stupid analogy. I wouldn't lose my head. My head wasn't on my head. Stupid ass shit. Alright. I think, what are we going to do here? The main thing is just, like I said, there we go. It's that side. See, every time you get it, like, okay, don't walk on this side. And then it's like oblong, like, it wants to fucking move all the place. So, I'm just going to keep hitting it with the gun. We'll see what we get. See, it's like, now the question is it tight there now? Let's see. It is super close, guys. I can hear something. So I don't like that. So it's my fault. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit, Dave, what are you doing? There we go. Yeah, it's my fault, you know, for being a cheap ass. You know, it's definitely my fault. I'm gonna do this on the ground. Be right back. Make it a little easier on myself. A little bit of patience. I'm just doing a little bit at a time. We got it. So it's kind of hard to see, but that washer, you know, it kind of walks around. So, but now I got it, and it's good to go. I don't hear no rubbing, and being that it has that nylon lock in there, it's great. You don't have to worry about that bolt kind of like, or that nut backing out. And you kind of maybe give it a little bit of a tug like that. Because that's your main thing. You don't want that thing to be bopping around. Now that we got that on there, the next thing I did before I even went down there and started installing anything on the car, right? We will install this first on the car. But the Heim joint, which is the adjustment piece, is what I like. Is what I did last time. Now, I guess in order for me to figure out this whole 1 inch, so I don't know if this whole thing is actually like 2 inches, but I wouldn't want to put it like on the very edge, let's per se. I think what I should do is, I think he's got a Sharpie here. I'm gonna measure 1 inch down. I'm gonna mark it, and then that's where I'm gonna stop right here on the nose of this thing. So measure 1 inch in, thread it till it's 1 inch in, and then we'll lock it down there. I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. That's a good idea. I can right there. I'm not sure. I can still kind of tighten it, I guess, sort of. But that's exactly where she should be. And then what you can also do to kind of keep things like in line is like make a mark. So like you could do like a line here on the nut, and then right down into the threads. That way when you go to put it on the car, if that kind of moves, you're like, oh, you know, I threw it off, you know, because I don't really have this thing locked all in. I'm not going to put a wrench on it yet, because what if I don't like it? You know what I mean? So I'm just going to kind of give it that little mark. Another thing I've noticed that you might want to try to do too is the camber kit. So I think this side, yeah, this side's pretty good at going in, but the driver's side, let's see, now that's actually really tight. Yeah, let me see if I can get it. Okay, all right, I did get it in, but the driver's side was super tight, and I had to bend it just a hair. I don't know if it happened during shipping or what have you, but I would definitely check that before you get it into the car. I mean, you could bend it while it's in the car, but me personally, I like to have everything checked prior to like installation. That way, when I go to put it up, it's like, oh shit, you gotta pull it back down and do something. Not that it's gonna be in a tight area, because once you mount it onto the lower control arm, you can kind of just tilt it towards you and bend it and then slide it back in, because that's the first point that I'm going to put on. I'm going to put right on that lower control arm. I'm going to put that bolt through, and that's another thing. This doesn't have any threads on the bottom like your stock trailing arms will. So now you kind of got to get the bolt that's going to go there and make sure you have a nut prior to going in, so that way you're not, oh shit, now the bolt's obviously going to be long enough it'll hold. But like I said, I like to have everything that I need ready. So let me go down here and find that bolt. Super long one we took out. Those two go there. And you got this one here. Yeah. See, it's nice and greasy. I like to put anti-seize on all my shit, man. Even though this stuff is like, I'm taking it on and off, and I'm test fitting a lot of stuff. Dude, there we go, it's perfect. Could rock this extra long jam, but that's crazy. Well, I might run a washer. Yeah, just having that anti-seize on there, oh my god, it's like a world of difference, dude. You would not believe like how easy the stuff on and off. And then 5 years down the road, if you still have your vehicle, and you'd be like, oh shit, I gotta change this control arm. Usually the bolts are seized or something, you're gonna be like, I remember every bolt on this car has anti-seize. So if you're the lucky person to buy this car after me, you will be super happy. Because everything's going to come off easy. Let's get down there and get this thing on. Alright, so like I was saying, I put that bracket in there first. Also did the camber kit bracket. And then I will start right here. And then like I was saying before, see how like this has like that little bit of like a dip right there? Okay, so the other lower control arms I had, when I was lifting this up, it was stopping like right there. And you can see how crazy that would have been. But now I can go all the way up as far as it is. And now it's just going to be a matter of putting the camber kit and the toe stuff on. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I got to do to get that stuff on. Like I said, that stuff's pretty self-explanatory. You guys could figure it out. You'll see once I have it installed. It's your camber, and then like I said, you have the thread. The eye of the adjustment's going to be there. You're going to put the other nut on, so you'll have this sleeve attached to the trailing arm. You'll slide this up into that bracket, and then you'll put the bolt along with another nylon locking nut on the end of that, and that'll hold the whole toe adjustment. But that's basically it, man. And then here's your two bolts for your camber kit, and that's the entire kit. And you can see, like up on this side, there's the camber kit, the bolts, and that's exactly how it's gonna look. It's kind of hard to see because it's dark. I got this little flashlight. There we go. But I'm gonna probably undo mine and bring this back an inch like the other side. I'm gonna kind of see how it fits over there first, see how much stress it puts on the bushings and stuff, and then I'll let you guys know. Went ahead and moved this one, back an inch and got it installed. Still got to tighten a few little things. I got to tighten the bottom bolt that's on the control arm. And then once I get the brakes and stuff on, and then I can get a wheel on there and kind of see what the camber is looking like and kind of adjust camber and the toe just by eye. I went ahead and broke this side loose and moved it back 1 inch as well. So I guess we'll see what it looks like with a wheel and tire on it. You can kind of see it sort of looks like it is off center, so it will have the wheel back a little more. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't put too much stress on everything. I mean, see a lot of those guys where they got the wheel as far as back as possible. And it's cool because it gives you that wheelbase. That's really what you want, that long wheelbase. Any kind of car, really. But, I'm going to go ahead and take a break for a little bit. But, yeah, once I get the brakes on the other side, then I'm going to route my staging brake hoses and kind of get them through the parking brake cable area, and then see if there's a way I can kind of tuck them up, bring them over to where they need to be, and just put them, kind of just install them. I'm not going to put any fluid or anything like that today. Like I said, I still got to, you know, bleed the front stuff, get my dashboard installed, and then I'll worry about putting the putting the staging brake in, and then I'll bleed the rear another day. But yeah, man, whoo! I'm glad these things finally came in, man, because they look super good. They look way, way better than them heavy ass 75 goddamn pound trailing arms that were originally there. So, all right, got the stage brake lines all in here now. Everything's tucked and zip tied up. It's pretty damn good. Got it come back here to these calipers. I didn't really crank on these things too tight. Just wanted to get a nice mock up. But man, it looks another hard long weekend. Got the new setup. Got the big wide drag radials in the front now. Got some nice little skinnies in the rear. Oh yeah, we ready for business. Catch y'all on the next one.